All right, guys, so today in this video, I'm gonna be walking you through the 7 levers that are gonna make your wholesale business blast off right away. And so before I implemented these 7 levers in my business, I was a little bit stuck, uncertain of exactly how I was gonna grow to the next level, and then not having the consistency that we wanted month in and month out. And so the first lever that really unlocked things for me was hiring an admin. I know what you're gonna say, this is some basic shit. Well, here's the reality of it, is I had to change my admin around, and I got one that honestly wasn't nearly as good as my other ones used to be. I didn't realize how much of a pain it was. I had to do things that are really petty, like I had to order all my things from Amazon, I had to pay my own bills, I had to look at my email, and I had to respond to messages that were sent to me, where I don't want to do any of those things. I also had to do little menial tasks like enter numbers into a KPI sheet. And I realized as soon as I had to do these things, like I gotta change. I cannot settle for having someone who's not that good run my assistant work. And so what this changed for me was, now if I have a project, I make a Loom video that's 5 minutes long, and I send it, and then it gets done. And then I do that again, I send the project, and it gets done. And so how this is going to relate for you guys is all the TC emails you get, opening escrow, buyers wanting small things, your CRM having leads fall through the cracks, getting KPIs reported every day. These things you should never do because they are $5 per hour tasks. And the one thing I do know that is a truth, this is actual, is if you spend your time doing $5 an hour tasks, then you will make $5 per hour. And I don't think anyone here in the US, I don't even think it's legal to make $5 an hour in the US. So definitely work on higher level tasks, but you should be working on $1,000 per hour tasks. And so one of my Denver events for my internal clients, we had everyone go through and do what we call the daily optimizer, where all you do is you go through an Excel sheet, you list out every single task that you do, and then rank it on a scale of 0 to 3 on how time consuming is this, and then a scale of 0 to 3 of how revenue generating is this. And so what you do is everything that's time intensive and that's not revenue generating, you delegate to someone else. And that's why you need an admin, because they're going to do all the work that sucks for you, so you can focus on doing the things like making offers, hiring people, training your team, whatever it might be, so that you can actually scale your business. And I can tell you firsthand, if you don't have an admin, you might be thinking, oh, I really don't need one. I don't mind doing those things. I have the time. Well, what about the quality of life of just not having to deal with that kind of stuff? And for me, like, that's my biggest pet peeve of not having someone who's dialed in that can just take all these things off my plate, because I need to be focused on ideas, creating a vision, moving the business forward, building new partnerships, learning new tactics, hiring new people, whatever it is. I need to be focused on growth and not just like maintenance of the little things. Because one, if I do maintenance of little things, I do them wrong and don't do them very well, and I stop doing them and they get backed up, and then it takes forever. And because I'm sure some of you guys are guilty of that too. So let's get to the next one. That was admin. The next one is going to be probably something that you've also heard of. None of these things are groundbreaking that I'm teaching, and that's because they work. Why do you think 26 out of our 113 clients that are eligible at this time to be part of the 100K per month club are in there? So 23% of the companies we work with have made it there. And that's pretty good. I would challenge any other coaching company to put their numbers up and let me know what they think. But I think that's fantastic. Your close rates are probably less than 23%.
Most of you guys have been watching my YouTube channel for quite a while now and probably know that I have an accelerator program that's made for people who want to pay to grow their business faster. And after working with over 150 clients in the last 2 years, what we've done is we've redone the entire product so that we've been able to streamline success for our clients. And this new streamlined product in the first 3 months has created 7 businesses to hit their first $100,000 per month. And so since we've helped over 150 clients scale their wholesale business to multiple 6 and multiple 7 figures per year, we've been able to really see what works. And we just redesigned our entire product to create a copy and paste system that our clients are using to scale their businesses extremely quickly. There's gonna be things like, getting KPIs installed, getting your sales process going, having the MLS strategy installed, hiring an admin, hiring a lead manager, how to onboard these people, and just having a copy and paste system. And then we also are gonna take you through getting your financials in order so you have a lot of clarity on like what your business actually does. So you're not stressed on how you spend money and where the marketing money goes and when's it coming back and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna take you through exactly how to hire a copy and paste strategy on how to hire your first acquisition manager, because I know that's the hardest part of business, is getting yourself out of that sales seat. So we take you through that, how to onboard that person, etc. How to do the same thing for Dispo, how to do the same thing for TC, whatever it may be. And then obviously there's plenty of other like straight up copy and paste SOPs that you would get as part of the program. And these copy and paste SOPs will change the foundation and the infrastructure of your business forever. And basically the entire goal is to pair you guys with a one-on-one coach who actually does the business at a very high level, that they're able to help you implement these things perfectly in your business. That's going to make the difference for you being where you're at to where you want to be. And so I'll keep it brief, but if this is something that you are remotely interested in and how we would scale your company to $100,000 per month, allowing you to work less, then all you need to do is go down below this video, click the link below, fill out some brief info, and show up to that call. With that being said, we will hop right back into the video.
Number 2, sales process. All right, sales. So who here listening to this has a script that is followed perfectly word by word, where every single offer call, every single sales call is about 80 to 85% exactly the same every single time? So based on the survey that I've done with my clients when they come to us, I would bet almost none of you. And that's okay, because I was there one time as well. And in reality, what that really felt like for me was every sales call was different. Sometimes we would close good, sometimes we wouldn't. And I had no idea how to train someone to take my role. Because I'm like, how are we going to teach someone to go and close deals at scale? Well, what we did was we listened to some videos. We learned from people who were ahead of us that had sales teams. And they were like, dude, you guys need like a sales process. We're like, or he's like, what's your sales process? I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, we call people up and we give them an offer. And we like, build a lot of rapport and ask them like questions. And they're like, okay, well, like, what's the frame of your script? Like, I don't know. We just kind of like ask questions. Like, we had a basic script, but nothing crazy. And so what we realized is that we needed a script for our guy to follow so that we can have a repeatable process to plug anyone into. And so this took us from doing about $50K a month to pretty much allowed us within 4 to 5 months, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been like 3 or 4 years, so it's kind of been a while, to go to $150,000 a month. So this took us from 50K to 150. And it allowed us to go from one acquisitions guy who was doing pretty well to doing 3 acquisitions guys. So now we removed a single point of failure in our business to where we never had to worry about, hey, if some guy's sick or some guy's not performing or whatever. Now we have 3 guys we can lean on to close deals for us. And that's because we had a sales process. And if we didn't have a sales process, then our business would still be super up and down. And we'd be like, you're riding the revenue roller coaster. I'm sure a lot of you guys are on, and it's okay. Pretty normal. If you're a small business and you haven't been around for more than 3 or 4 years, this is what your business looks like, because you don't have the processes in place. That's why you need to copy and paste them to plug them into your business. So sales process is going to basically give you the same call every time. So when you have an issue and your KPIs are off, you know exactly where to look at in your things, you know exactly where to look at to fix your issue. So basically, how does the sales process actually work? That's going to be everyone's question. Like, what does that actually look like? So if I want to build a sales process, it's going to be very, very simple. I'm literally going to say, hey, what is the first thing you say when the seller hops on the call? And I'm going to say whatever the line is. And then I'm going to say, okay, well, what happens after that? Now I set expectations for how the call is actually going to go. So I would list the call kind of out like this. This is how the script kind of works. So you have our intro. That's number 1. And we have our set the stage phase. And in this phase, we're really focused on telling them like how this process works. And like what's most important about the set the stage phase is letting the seller know this is how the process works. This is like what it looks like if we agree on a number. This is what it looks like for our call, how it's going to work. So there's no questions. No one's confused. Everyone knows exactly where they're going, because a confused mind says no, and we don't want that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to address any roadblocks that might be there. So this could be something like, are all the decision makers there? That's generally the biggest one for us. And then just like, is someone even like ready to make a decision? So address roadblocks. And the biggest thing here, I'm sure you might have heard of this, is objections versus obstacles. Is roadblocks are way easier to overcome before you give the offer than after you give the offer. That's why we set the process up like this. Then once we've addressed the roadblocks, this is now where the meat of the call actually comes in. This is what I'm sure you guys all like actually know where the money's made, but this is going to be state the motivation. So when we state the motivation, we're going to be asking things like, how long has this been going on? How has that impacted you? Seems like, feels like, sounds like. We're going deep and asking Socratic questions just to understand the circumstance, how it's affected you, and what their picture perfect outcome might look like. And then that way we know how to build a gap, what we're offering them, and what service they actually need and care about. And then once we've done that, this is going to be where the bulk of the call is spent. It's stating motivation. We're now going to move on to setting the offer up. So setting up the offer. Excuse my amazing handwriting. It's absolutely incredible, I know. In the setting up the offer, literally this is just like framing all their motivation points, their picture perfect scenario things, and then packaging that all up and then giving them the offer. And so the way we're going to do that is like, we're going to tell them not the price we're willing to pay for it, but the price that our finance department says their property qualified for. And that's how we do this. It's a really important key to our sales process is negotiating not us versus the seller, but it's us and the seller versus the finance department. And the finance department is the big bad guy. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do that. And if you don't, you got to work that into your process. So it's a step-by-step thing that happens every time. And so it's no longer this thing where we just give a number. Yeah, we pay $250,000. No, the finance department said the property qualified for $234,732.63. And that way it's an exact number. It's like, yeah, it's a crazy formula. I don't know how they came up with it. It's wild. It kind of breaks the ice, makes, if you frame it right, it makes it seem a little bit less heavy when you lowball them. It's like, man, like that's a weird number. Like, how'd they come up with that? I don't know. They got this crazy calculator. Long story short, that's setting up the offer. It's important to do that. And when you say the offer, when we set it up and we give the price, then we're going to be signing. We're just going to shut up. We don't say anything. We let them talk first. Make sure that's very, very critical. If you don't do that, you're screwing up lots of deals. Then we have a negotiation process. And I'm going to actually rewrite all this. This is going to be some real big nuggets for you guys. We systemize out exactly how we negotiate with people so that we say generally the same things every single time, because we know exactly what objections are going to come up based on our process. And that's why you need process, because you're going to get way better at it over time. So initially, like, yeah, it'll be cool. Like, you're getting deals and stuff, but when you dial the process in, that's going to be what allows you to get deals at scale and close 20, 25, 30% close rate on the phone. Negotiating. How many of you guys here have a negotiation process? Like, when someone says that's way too low, who here has the same thing they say every time? Everyone does. But when you're training someone new for the first time ever, they're going to get stonewalled. Someone's going to say, yo, dude, that's like way too low. Fuck no, that's like way too low. They're going to be like, oh my God, I don't know what to respond with that. That's like, I knew it was too low, and I can't believe I gave you that low of an offer. That's what we're going to be feeling. So we got to become very systematic in this. So it's going to be like, yeah, I figured. Just like off the record, like, what were you like hoping for at least? And then they're going to be like, whatever price. And then we're going to do a couple more price rebuttals. And then we're going to come into basically our MLS pitch, which allows us to do novations. So, this allows us to basically work through our offer giving process, which if you guys don't have an offer giving process in your sales process, you got to have one. We need a first offer max, we need a wholesale MAO, and we need an MLS offer MAO. And allows this negotiation process works through those MAOs down the line until we get to our highest price, which is our novation or MLS offer. And the reason this all works is because we frame ourselves at a very low price here. And then we work ourselves up to a very high price here. And at this high price, the only thing the seller has to actually do, is they have to be flexible with us on an access to the property. And if they're able to give us access to the property right here, and what I mean by access, I just mean access is in like a handful of times per week. We're not going to live at your property. Just for a couple of our retail investors and retail partners to come out to the property. That's all I mean by that. That's literally everything here that allows us to do novations. Still average $35K per deal, right? It's pretty good. And pay on average about $40,000 to $50,000 more, depending on what market is. If you're dealing with $50,000 houses, you may not be able to pay $40,000 more, but you guys get the gist. And that's why the sales process works so well, is because we have a simple process that happens over and over and over again, just like you would do if you generated leads. You do the same thing over again. If you track your KPIs, you do the same thing over again. If you worked out, you do the same thing over again. And that's why we got to do that with sales. If you don't have this dialed in, you're leaving tons of money on the table, guaranteed. All right, number 3 here. What do you guys think this is? KPIs. I know you guys probably aren't super surprised that you probably figured it was coming up sooner or later. What is a KPI? KPI is a key performance indicator, and it's basically statistics on your business. So we all played sports. If you played baseball, you knew your batting average. You knew how many stolen bases you had. You knew how many home runs you hit. You knew your KPIs because you played baseball, and that was just what it was. Whether it's football, baseball, soccer, basketball, hockey, whatever sport I'm forgetting, you knew your numbers. And that's if you were good, at least. If you're good, you knew your numbers. And that's how business works too. If you are good at business, you know your numbers. And your numbers, if you don't know them, you have no clear picture of what's actually happening. And the way I like to relay this to people is like, imagine driving a car, but then being blindfolded. It's pretty scary. And like, that's how it actually is if you run a business without numbers, without projections, is you're just driving the business around with no idea where the hell you're going. You're just off in the desert, just cruising around. And that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is we want to run a predictable and consistent business. And KPIs allow us to do that because we know exactly what the problem is. We know exactly what metrics we have to hit our goal by having KPIs. And if you don't have KPIs, then you never will know those things. So what KPIs do we actually track? It's a good question. Here's the ones that I track, and this is the ones that all my clients track that allow them to add tons of revenue immediately into their businesses. I just made a video literally like 5 minutes before this on how KPIs allowed us to go from $30,000 to $120,000 in one business in 30 days. So 4X in real revenue, real profit in 30 days. That's insane. And that's all because of KPIs. We need to track leads. We need to track appointments. These are the bare minimum ones. There's some more if you're really advanced you can track. I'm gonna give you guys the bare minimum that you have to track. Offers, contracts, we want our sold deals. And then we're gonna want our revenue, our expenses, marketing expenses, and then we want our average deal size. If we track these KPIs, what that does is it creates the business and turns into a funnel. And so the business looks like this, where we have leads that come in and then out the bottom spits revenue. right? And so as we dump leads in, they get funneled out because they're not motivated sellers. And then we give them an offer, and then not everyone wants to sell for a very low price and wants our service. And then we get contracts, and then not every contract gets sold, so we sell a deal, and then et cetera, et cetera. And so basically what I did was I set the business up like this. Then I realized that there was key pieces of the players who played each role. So from lead to appointment, the people who play in this vicinity is our lead managers, or if you're doing inbound leads, it should be your acquisition managers generally. The people who play in appointments to contracts, this is going to be your acquisition managers. The people who play contract to revenue is going to be your TC and your dispo, who a lot of times is going to be you guys as a business owner at this point. If that's all we have to think about, we break the business into 3 parts: lead managers, acquisitions, and dispo. That's all we got to do. Then now it's very easy to determine, hey, if leads to appointments off, who do you think we're calling? What do you think we're looking at? Oh, we're looking at lead managers. Like, what else are we going to look at? We're not going to look at acquisitions for lead to appointment. But when you don't have your numbers, you just know, man, I'm not closing as many deals as I want to close. Okay, cool. Well, why do you feel like that? I don't know. I don't have any numbers. I just feel like maybe like our team isn't closing deals anymore. The leads are bad. Well, what you can do is you can go look at the lead managers now because you track KPIs, and you can say, hey, are the conversations good the lead managers having? Are the lead managers making enough calls? Are they talking to the right people in CRM? Or are leads good? That's a valid question. Sometimes they are. Most time, it's not the leads problem. 99.9999% of the time, it's not a leads issue. It's a process issue. Appointment to contracts down. Who do you think we're calling? What do you think we're looking at? We're looking at the sales calls. We're looking at the quality of the appointments. Because those are only 2 variables in play. It can only either be a quality of appointment issue, and it can only ever be a how good is my acquisition manager issue. And then therefore you either do more training or you find a new acquisition guy. That's literally the same thing for contract and revenue. That's all you got to do. And then the ultimate metric of all, which every single person here should know, and if you don't know, go learn right now. Like right after this video, go and find it out. But your ROI. ROI is return on investment. We are all investors in your business. That is your first and main priority, is to be a great investor. If you are a bad investor, you make a lot less money. So ROI, you know this number. And what this means is how many dollars you put in, how many dollars that gets you out. And if you know that it gets you more dollars out than when you put $1 in, then you know you're making money. And now you have to make the math work. So obviously, like for our clients, like we have set up numbers for each channel specifically, how much of an ROI they should be getting. Basically, rule of thumb, if you're doing outbound marketing, 5x, if you're doing inbound, 3x. Obviously, we can be way better than that if we actually dial in the processes, but that's like the bare minimum to make the math work. Just so you guys know, I'm off the cuff. If you don't have your number set up and you do want our help, obviously, like we do that. It's like what we specialize in: systems, processes, all the things that you're learning about in this video. So just click the link down below, book a call with my team. You don't have to have your KPI set up. That's like what we're going to do. We've seen it a million times. As long as you can tell us a story about your business, we can literally tell you your KPIs within like a couple of degrees of accuracy. So we're going to be spot on with that. But track your KPIs. If you're not doing it, start doing it every single week and just looking at these numbers every single week. If you can do that at the bare minimum, you're going to learn how to make a lot more money right away. All right, numero cuatro, number 4. What do you guys think it is? Take a guess. Put in the comments right now. 3, 2, 1. All right, your CRM. Sexy CRM that everyone hates, but also everyone always asks which is the best CRM. No one likes their CRM. It's a pain in the ass to fix it, to make it right, to make it good. That's why I spent all the time in the world. Listen, it took me literally 4 years to get it done. So here's the flaw that most people look at their CRM. The way that I view my CRM, and this is not how most people do, but this is how I do it, is I view it as a haystack. And yes, this is going to be a green haystack because the yellow does not show up. And a lot of you are probably wondering why we're doing a haystack, and that's because I'm from the South, and we have a lot of cows and horses down there, so it's pretty standard stuff. But most of you guys have a haystack, and the way that I see this is my CRM is a haystack, and these little black things are going to represent needles. So you ever heard of like, man, it's hard to find like a needle in a haystack? That's how I see our CRM. And the way that I thought the CRM was set up was there were black needles everywhere throughout the CRM evenly. So if we looked here for a needle, there would be one if we called enough. If we looked here for a needle, there would be one if we called enough. Or if we looked here, there'd be one. I knew that our number was 150 calls per needle. So if I knew if we made 150 dials, we would get one appointment with a motivated seller. I'm just like, dude, call 150 people. I don't care what you call it. Let's get an appointment. Let's rock and roll. Well, what I realized was most people couldn't make 150 dials in a day unless they're on a dialer. And then you have phone numbers that are getting burned, and you have people who are falling through the cracks. It's just like a real pain. And I knew this was a major issue. So I spent tons of time trying to figure it out. And I didn't figure it out until one of my lead managers who I hired, his name is Jordan. He's a goat. A lot of you guys probably know him. He figured this out, and I like tied the knot together. And what he realized was that the CRM did not look like this. The CRM did not look like this at all. It actually looked more like this. Same number of needles in the haystack, but all the needles were over here. So all the needles were on one side. And so the 80-20 principle relayed perfectly to this. 20% of our CRM had 80% of the needles. So this was 20%, and this is 80% over here that we would contact, or that we contacted all the time. So we were contacting 100% and only getting needles from over here, generally. So what we did was we built our CRM in a way that the 20% that had the 80% outcome was all we called. And so the way that we structured that up was so important because that allowed our lead managers to go and take this 150 dials number to one appointment, and in literally 30 days from this fix, take that and turn it into 50 to one appointment. So I'm not the best at math. I didn't graduate college. I did do good in calculus in high school, but that's a 3x, pretty certain. 150, 50, 350s fit into 150. So that's 3x. So our business 3x'd like that just by following the haystack method. So if you use the haystack method and you set your CRM the right way, you're gonna get a huge outcome on this. And the way that we do this is we realize that the leads that we never contacted were the best leads. So we just focus all our time there. And there's obviously some more nuance and automations and stuff we set up. But generally speaking, it was about the place that we were spending our energy on the phone calls. So, we like sent text and we had a whole system for it. But generally speaking, is if you call people who you haven't ever spoken to, those are the best people. And then like automating it through texting, having text blasts, all this stuff, that's going to be what gives you the upper hand that you need. So what I'd say from the haystack is like, go deep in your CRM and figure out where the book calls are coming from. Figure out where your appointments are coming from. Because if you know that, if you track that for every single appointment, where it came from, you're going to know exactly where to go in your CRM. I mean, every lead channel is a little bit different, but generally speaking, if you do that, you're going to get the outcome that you want for your own business. So using the haystack method, just one other side tip that I just forgot about is to figure out where in your system that it works. Because obviously, we set our client CRM up so they have the exact same copy and paste method we use. But if you want to figure out for yourself on exactly where your leads are mostly getting set to an appointment from, is track every single appointment that you have and then find out where it came from in CRM. If you can do that, then you're going to know pretty quickly where all the good leads are based in your CRM. So super simple, but that's what you got to do. You got to do a little bit of work. And funny enough, I actually just did the same thing for Level Up and learned a lot about where our calls come from. So it's super interesting stuff. You're gonna learn a lot of data. All right, number 5. What would you guys think number 5 might be? I know I've asked you every time. You probably haven't guessed this one. Free marketing. So if you don't have free marketing in your business, you need it. And it's the biggest mistake that we ever made by not doing it sooner, but it's helped many of my clients achieve a 60 to 75% profit margin business while relying on multiple free deals per month, and then also getting multiple paid deals per month. And so what we did wrong, full of transparency, was we were like, hey dude, we can plug $1 in and get 5 out over a year and do nothing different. Let's just keep plugging dollars in. And it was that monkey brain of a decision. I think a lot of people would do the same thing. But what I didn't realize is as we try to scale from 150 a month to, at the time, $400,000 or $500,000, $600,000, what we're trying to get to, there was a lot of overhead you have to bring on from spending money in marketing, tons more money on marketing, and then waiting 60 days, 90 days, 180 days for it to close, for you to get cash back. So you had a huge cash flow issue, and then that created profit issues. And at the end of the day, what I realized was we really need the flexibility of having high ROI on our marketing to allow us to scale and diminish return. So let me explain this to you in layman's terms. So if I try to scale at a 5x ROI on marketing, what's going to happen is it's going to go down to a 2 to a 3x. You're going to get about half as efficient, generally speaking, from what I've seen. So this makes margin very hard. It does. If your profit margin here is 50%, and then you cut down your revenue in half, your margin gets very, very tight. We don't like this. This is the sad place. Sad bliss. If you have a 10x ROI, which is very feasible with free marketing, then this is going to drop to 5x. And so maybe we go from being 70 to 80% margin, and we go to 50%. Maybe 40 at the lowest, 40 over here. And this is not that sad. This is a good place to be. This is a very healthy margin. We're happy here. And we're very happy here. We like the biggest smile on our face. So what I want you guys to realize is if you're ever trying to scale and spend more money, whether you're going from 10K to 30K, or they're going from 30K to 100K, or 100K to $1 million a month, this is a monthly figure, you need free marketing in your business because it's going to allow you the flexibility to screw up. So with free marketing, this is what your return can be. Without free marketing, this is what your return can be. And the way that I've seen free marketing work the best is there's two methods that we've taught our clients. So basically, you got option one is direct to agent, or you can do both. Or you can do foreclosure. Or if you follow McLean Bobbitt, you could technically do like messy title. These are the three options you have. I know I said two, but these are the three options you have. Direct to agent foreclosures are my favorite two. Messy title is really long cash conversion cycle, and it's like a lot more legwork on the back end. So like it's not a bad option. If you get good at it, it's really, really good option. McLean Bobbitt, my buddy, crushes it. Absolutely dominates it. Foreclosures. You guys all know Michael Frankie. Michael Frankie crushes with this. Had several people in level up go to this route, and it'd be super effective. It's really not that hard. You just got to put in legwork up front and hire someone, ideally, if you're already doing deals, who can go and do this for you. If not, you got to door knock, you got to go on outreach, SMS, cold call, that kind of stuff. Really tight follow-up game. And also like be willing to have a lot of people battle you until you get up to the table. So a lot of you guys know about foreclosure, and a lot of you guys know about direct to agent. And direct to agent is actually something that I didn't really believe in as a method until recently. And that was because I have some clients who came to my Denver event in maybe like a month and a half ago. It's like 2 months ago, something like that. And they were doing $30K a month or so in their wholesale business or flipping business. They're closing like one deal a month. And they wanted to hire a free marketing guy to go get them more deals. I was like, that's a very interesting idea. Let's try it. So they went and they hired the guy, and literally within 90 days, the guy's getting a deal a month for free. So they went and hired this guy. They're paying him commission only. I think they're a small base, like a small hourly base, and then mostly commission. And then they're getting an extra deal a month. So they went from 30 to 60K per month, and all that was profit almost. Like 90%, 80 to 90% profit, which is huge. So if you could add 80 to 90% profit in one deal, it's like 30 to 40K. I mean, that's like massive for any business. You can then, it creates a flywheel because you can literally invest more into marketing, and that invests more in appointments, and that gets more deals, and you get more money, and then you can spend more. And that's why the 10x ROI is so huge. So basically both of these, like we have internal. Essentially, if you want to learn about these for free, I'm not the best person to teach these personally. I partner with someone who teaches this, and then foreclosures. I have some internal stuff, and I have people in my community. But if you want to learn about this, go watch Michael Frankie. These are the guy. And then for this one, go McLean Bobbitt if you want to do that. But those are the three that I would recommend for free marketing. If you want this, if you need to do this, like I personally think it's like a must do in your wholesale business if you actually want to grow at scale. All right, number 6 is lead management. This is huge. Number 7 is gonna be acquisition, so don't leave yet in case you're sad. But lead managers is number 6. You'd be surprised. I feel like everyone should know about lead managers at this point, but I've been proven quite wrong. Many of our clients, like a lot of them coming in, have not had a lead manager in their business, for maybe they don't know how to do it. They're not sure about what a lead manager is. Maybe they have an idea about it, or they're just not sure how to execute it. This has literally been responsible for 4xing so many businesses this year. I think 4 of our 100K per month businesses that have hit it this year, which is like, I think we've had 9 so far, is because of lead managers. This has been a huge lever. And the reason that this is so good is because you get all these leads and you just can't keep up with them. So your follow-up, you're drowning. You get all these new leads that are unqualified. You got to filter through them. So if you're doing cold call, texting, lead manage, you got to have one. If you don't, you're leaving tons of money on the table because you're going to burn yourself out and you're not able to focus on things you need to do. If you're doing inbound, you have all these follow-up leads that you're following through. You're not managing. You're not putting it on your calendar. You're not touching base with them, whatever it is. So I want to automate the calendar. I want my calendar to be completely automated where I don't have to worry about it. I have sales bookings on there. So I want to automate appointments. And when you have appointments automated and things are just popping on your calendar and you just got to go and rip offers, you're going to close better. You can close at a higher rate because you're locked in all the time on just giving offers. And you're also just going to get way more appointments because your follow-ups can actually get completed. And so this is literally, I mean, I think like there's some testimonials. I think it's Ian in Vegas. They were like, I think they got 4 contracts from their lead manager in the first 30 days. Pretty sick. So, I mean, that's like 100K plus in projected profit. So this process absolutely crushes. So how does lead manager actually work? What do they do? Basically, their job is to call leads, not inbound leads. Don't have them call inbound leads first. Is you have 2 options. You have an outbound funnel, and then you have the outbound funnel. Okay? Those are your 2 funnels. On the outbound funnel, in this SMS and cold call, what they're going to do is they're going to call the leads. They're going to take the leads through a diagnosis call. And when you go through this diagnosis call, they're going to basically say, are you motivated or not? In very simple terms. If they are motivated, they're going to go to an appointment, which is up here. We can just draw a line. They're going to go to an appointment. And then you're going to go on that appointment, you're going to close that deal. If they are not qualified, this is where things get a little bit more hectic, but they're going to go and put them into a follow-up campaign, which basically means they're going to get an automated text every 30 days It's kind of hard to see. But auto text every 30 days. Once they get an auto text every 30 days, they're also going to get at the minimum, there's 3 stages they can go to. Is they can go to hot, warm, or cold. If they go to hot, we're going to talk to them. That means they should be an appointment, but for whatever reason, they're not right now. And so these people are going to get followed up with frequently, like probably like every 5 to 7 days, depending on 3 to 7 days, depending on the lead. So it's 3 to 7. Warms are people who their timeline to actually, they think the timeline to book a call is between 30 and 60 days. So 30 to 60 day timeline. For these people, for a 30 to 60 day timeline, what we're going to do is we're going to contact them every 14 days. And then cold, these are 60 plus. We're going to contact them every 30 days. And so that's how this is all followed up. The lead manager is going to do all of that, because if you were to execute that, it would not work. And I just know that from experience coaching people and also my own experience. Inbound. Start by inbound. I made a video on how we spent $80K on marketing. It might have come out. It might come out after this one. And we didn't make a single dollar. So the inbound funnel is one that I learned the hard way. But once I learned it, it turned 20K into 120 instead of 80K into 0. So basically it allowed us to make a ton more money. And what you do is the inbound lead goes to the AM. So it skips over the lead manager. Doesn't go to lead manager yet. And the AM determines, does it go to an appointment or not? And if it does not go to an appointment, then what we do is we kick it over to the same follow-up process that the lead manager just sits in. And so that's how this all works. It's very, very simple. But if you don't set it up like this, then you're going to lose tons of money. And so if you don't know how to get a lead manager, you can do 2 things. You can either hire someone abroad or hire someone stateside. Oops, let me get this a little bit more cleaned up so I can talk to you guys about this. So if you want to hire someone stateside, that's my recommendation. I personally think stateside people are better, but everyone's got a different budget. If you can't get a stateside person because you can't afford it, then go virtual. And basically how I do this, I now have the network built, so I don't have to go and do this, but I would go, and I've actually just recently found out about this. I've always thought Upwork is the play. But what I found is that if you use Indeed or WiseHire to hire these people, and you can pick a country that you want. I like Nicaragua. I like Colombia. I like Venezuela. I like these countries in South America because the cultures are very similar and you can still get them for very affordable. Nicaragua is my favorite probably for callers. And that's just because the people I know there more likely. But nonetheless, it's WiseHire. And I honestly did not realize that WiseHire was so legit. But you can go in there and make a post. And I make posts for acquisitions people on there all the time. And there's really good South American people applying who've done cold calling, who've done lead manager, who've done all these jobs in the past. They're trained up already reasonably. They have good call experience reasonably. And all you gotta do is just train them up in your process. And so if you need one, go to WiseHire or go to Indeed. Those are the 2 places that I've realized that are like probably the best for hiring them. Because on Upwork, all you're gonna get is Filipinos, and I don't like Filipinos for this kind of role. It's just not gonna work that good. So anyways, you can hire Americans there as well. So lead managers, that's lead managers. And this is their side point. Like WiseHire is like $230 or $290 a month. It's like to hire someone good, like that's like a no-brainer. It's really a simple process to hire them too. It's not that hard. All right, so number 7 is acquisition manager. And this is the most important thing because it's been responsible for taking the most people from $50K to $100,000 per month and beyond, $200,000 per month beyond. And it's also been the same thing that has taken our business and taken us from around $200K a month to around $100,000 a month, which is the reverse outcome you want. I'll tell you why. We went from $200,000 per month to hiring a sales manager who was in charge of all the acquisition guys. We had 3 at the time. And then we went to $100,000 per month. We were crushing it. We got a 0.5x return on this hire per month. It was really, really great. What happened is the quality of our acquisitions team dropped substantially because the quality of the person running the team was way too low. And so I say this as in the point that a good acquisition manager can take you from $50K per month, or maybe a little bit less, and then take you to $200,000 per month, because I've seen this happen many times. That's what a good acquisition manager or a good set or pair, triplet, trifecta of acquisition managers can do for you. And this is what a bad group of them can do. And this is due to a sales manager. And so if your profit margin in a business, let's just ask you a basic question, is 50%. So we're making $100K a month in this scenario. How much money do you think we made in this scenario? We made 0 or a little bit negative. And that's just the reality of growing. That's why free marketing is so important. And that's why acquisition managers and hiring the right person is so critical. And so this went on for 3 months because we gave the person a chance. And then we fired them and we replaced them. And we plugged back in our current process for 3 months. Same team, same everything. And then we went back up to 200. After 3 months of having the other person back, which was Gino, my partner, we went and did $450,000 in March. So we like replaced them in January And then in March, we did 450. And that was just strictly because of having better training. So 450K. And then what happened was we just knew exactly what to do and what not to do. And that's why we were able to create these kind of results for our clients. How do you actually do this? All right, so you're probably wondering, how do you avoid the mistakes that we made? So the biggest mistakes we made were when we hired the wrong acquisition people and we had the wrong acquisitions guys on our team was one, they had no sales experience. And I know you're going to say, wow, that's so obvious. Yeah, I know, we were 22. What do you think we would do? We were dumb and we just wanted to go fast. So no sales experience. That's number one. Number two is they don't want to make enough money. They had a low drive for money. They didn't need that much. And that means that when you get commission fat, you stop trying so hard. And number three, the third thing we did was we didn't have an accountability process in place to make sure we held these people to a high standard. So no high standard held. And if you listen to Tony Robbins ever before in your life, which I'm sure every single one of you guys has, he says the standard at which you expect and hold people to is the standard at which people fall to. So if you have no standards you hold people to, then you fall to whatever standards your sales team has for themselves. And most people, not as high of a standard as you do, because otherwise they'd be the business owner. And that's the reality. So if you avoid these three things, hire people with experience in sales or put them through lead management first and then promote them, you'll have a very high likelihood of success. If they have a high drive for money, they want to make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 per month and always feel like they're not making enough money, then this is going to be a really key thing. And then if they do not have any accountability, they have no standard to held to, then you're also going to struggle immensely in this role. And if you do all these things right, you hire the right culture fit, you do all that stuff, you will get results like going from 50 to 100K per month. I mean, I can't guarantee you're going to get those results, but you can get those results very, very possibly if you do the right things, have the right process, have the right sales process, hire the right people, and hold them accountable. And so without further ado, this is the 7 lessons and strategies I've learned that will grow your wholesale business if you implement them today. So if this was helpful and you want any of our help possibly on how we'd implement into your business today, just go down below this video, click the link below, and book a call with my team. And on that call, we will walk you through our entire scaling process from A to Z and what that looks like for you and your business. If not, that's not something you're looking for, then enjoy this video and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.